Hello, today's lesson is 1.1 Day 5 Variables. Make sure you're accessing all of your assignments through modules. We'll start with the directions for today. Let's see, we got two things, the 1.1 Day 5 Variables and the Edpuzzle Independent and Dependent Variables. Always click Next to go to the next thing in modules. When you access this, you'll see the Google slide is on the same page as the notes in the question page. You can still do the old thing where you open it up and split the screen, but it's your preference. I don't know, maybe it's kind of nice, I think, to have both things on one page. All right, so you're going through the lesson and it starts with a couple questions to study the picture on the right. Write two testable questions about the picture. Make sure the questions are science related. This is just a zoomed in version. It says Group A, salt water, medium container, potting soil, warm room, cold water. Look how the height is, not very tall. Group B, distilled water, medium container, potting soil, warm room, and cold water. This one's nice and tall. Group C, tap water, medium container, potting soil, warm room, cold water. So you're supposed to ask two questions based on this picture. Maybe you could ask about how the type of water affects plant growth. Maybe you could talk about how did the scientists keep everything the same except for the type of water, salt water, distilled water, tap water, and questions like that. Next slide, your objective. When you're writing these questions in, you're going to write them in on your document here. There's a warm-up part. So slides 2 and 3. That was slides 2 and 3, the warm-up. Slide 2 and 3 just zoomed in. Done with those slides, you go to slide 4, the objective. Students will be able to identify the independent and dependent variable of the experiment. So down here, you'll come in and type in variable on this line. Students will be able to identify the independent and dependent variables of an experiment. Done with that, go to slide 5. Thinking. Why is it important to change only one variable at a time? Well, thinking back to this image here, they kept everything the same: medium container, potting soil, a warm room, and cold water. The only thing they changed was salt water, distilled water, and tap water. This question is asking, why is that important? Why is it important to only change one thing at a time? Well, good answer to that is because if you change more than one thing, you won't be able to tell what is actually having the effect. So in this picture, is it the type of water that's having the effect for growth? Well, we know for sure because that's the only change you made. But if you had a large container here for Group B and you use warm water, you wouldn't be able to tell if it was the type of water or the size of the container or the temperature of the water. Okay. We were on slide 6, question 2. How would you help your friend in the following scenario? What did she do wrong and why? All right, so down here, here's the spot for question 2, slides 6 through 8. We're on slide 6 now. So here's the scenario. Suppose that one of your friends has a pet fish in an aquarium. Last week, all the fish died. Oh. When your friend got a new fish, she decided to use a different filter, a different type of food, a different temperature setting. If the new fish survived, could she tell what caused the old fish to die? Well, what do you think? She changed all these things. She changed the food type. She changed the temperature setting. She changed the filter. All right, make sure you answer that question. Can she tell what made the fish die? If the fish survive this next time, maybe they might die next time. Let's change all these things. All right, next slide 9 through 10. So up here, you've got slide 9. It says read slide 11. It should be slide 9. Read slide 9, try to fill in the following notes. Go to slide 11 to check the blanks. All right, so we come up here, we're going to read this. A lot of times when you're reading on these slides, you want to read by the highlighted words or the underlined words. All other variables or factors that can change an experiment must be the same. Here's another bold highlighted word. The one variable that is purposely changed to test a hypothesis is the manipulated variable or independent variable. The independent variable is the term we're going to use more in this science class. And the responding variable, the factor that may change in response to the manipulated variable, is the responding variable or the dependent variable. Now, dependent variable, that's the more scientific word that we're going to use. All right, and so here are the notes for slide 10. So this is wrong as well. All right, so the independent variable is also known as the blank variable. So you look up here, it's the manipulated variable. It's the cause of the experiment. It's what you changed. So in this first blank line is manipulated. It's the cause of the experiment. It's what you changed. The dependent variable, also known as the responding variable, effect of the experiment. It's what you measured. So you change something up here. Over here, it's what you measured, the dependent variable. And again, looking back to this slide, the independent variable is the type of water: salt water, distilled water, tap water. The dependent variable is how tall these things grew. The dependent variable depends on what type of water, the independent variable. And lastly, we have one more, the controlling. The constants. The controlling variables means keeping all conditions the same except for the manipulated variable. You have to ask yourself, is this a fair test? Again, going back to this image here, if I keep everything the same except for one variable, one independent variable, salt water, distilled water, tap water, then it makes it a more fair test. But if I change the pot size on this one small, this pot be medium, this pot be large, that would make it just not a fair test, because a larger pot might make it grow more. So we might not really know if it's tap water, distilled water, or salt water. We might think, oh, that's the size of the pot. So you only change one thing at a time. All right, let's continue. Next is scenario, slide 11. Scenarios. Identify the independent and dependent and control variables for each scenario. There's actually one scenario for the example. All right, so example 1 is on slide 12 through 14. So an investigation was done with an electromagnetic system made from a battery and a wire wrapped around a nail. Different sizes of nails were used. The number of paper clips the electromagnetic could pick up was measured. So give you the problem. How does the size of a nail affect the number of paper clips picked up? And then the hypothesis. If blank, then blank. So if we use a larger nail, more paper clips will be picked up. If we use a smaller nail, fewer paper clips will be picked up. So we have to figure out the independent and the dependent variables. So the independent variable is going to be the size of the nail. The dependent variable is going to be how many paper clips gets picked up. And the constants are going to be the wire, the battery, the size and shape of the paper clips that are being picked up. All right. And then, look, here's the answers, so you can get those written down. Next is a check yourself. This is actually in Canvas. If you have, you can click the next button to get to the Edpuzzle. It says on your Canvas page, find and complete today's Edpuzzle about independent and dependent variables. And then after that is the wrap up. Explain what dependent variables, independent variables, controlling variables are. Dependent variables are, constant controlling variables are. So you want to write in your definition, what you think it is. You can come up here and look at these to help you. We have a good definition right here, use them. So after you submit this, remember the submit button's right here, you're going to click on the next button. If you have more time, you finish all these things, you can do this extension. It's an optional extension, so we're not going to explain it here. But there is a lot of, it's kind of like a fun virtual lab. So if you want to do the extension, go for it. It's a lot of fun. After you finish up with this, you click submit, go down here and click the next button. Remember, always click the next button. And up will pop an Edpuzzle for today. You're going to watch it, answer the questions, then you'll be done with all of the things for the assignment. So looking here at our modules, the directions for today, you'll see there's two things here. So the directions, make sure we met all of our goals. The 1.1 day 5, done. Do the Edpuzzle, done. All right, let me know if you have any questions.